Hey, this is a video in response to Obama reversing marriage, marriage and the relationship uh, of marriage for uh, society, society as a whole in America. And so I could say this very short. As much as I love President Obama and all that stuff, with this being an issue, I definitely wouldn't vote for him again. If it just turns back to where it makes all of America, and I was just watching Sister Sunshine, where it was an issue to address this um, for um, for across different states because so I first thing I don't think that was so first they say well one state has a right to do it because it's a state and it's sovereign unto itself. Now they're saying okay we're going to make a blanket law so that people who are married are their marriage is supposed to be valid, homosexual marriage. So so I probably wouldn't vote for President Obama because even all the things that I do like about him, I think there's a huge, huge step backwards for, it's even though he's a step forward for African American and African American, it's a step backwards for humanity as a whole. So I definitely he does not have my support behind this. I think that there has never been any question about that, and um, so, so, and I think that to a degree, he should have left that as one thing that he did not deal with. You know, he should have let that go. And so, to me, with him being married and being campaigned and said he believes in marriage between a man and a woman, and to do this shows weakness. It's very weak-minded. And I understand that people are like that, but for a president, you know, uh, obviously he had got a homosexual Supreme Court person, so this is the agenda, and so there's a lot of information about how this is going to affect children that they will teach children before they reach the age of puberty to that sex between two kids are normal. And so, two boys, if a little boy touches you and you don't like it, you don't have the right to really tell him, don't touch me. That is not okay for you to touch me. So anyway, and then they're also going to be sharing, you know, explicit things. Now, there's a couple of things I want to mention according to this topic, and I'll try to keep it short. Um, First thing, I just saw an article that a friend of mine posted on Facebook about how HPV or that there are different diseases that are coming from oral sex. So there's a penis goes in the vagina. Okay, that's the natural, normal way of doing it. Now, heterosexuals and alike, have sex, oral sex, and all that. They enjoy all kinds of different forms of pleasure. Okay, understood. But some of them still have repercussions, physical, biological repercussions. And so basically, they're saying because of oral sex, people are getting throat cancer. So what they're teaching is that this act of oral sex, or what is noted in the Bible as sodomy, not judging anybody, just saying what is what, that these are the facts, the biological facts. That's my whole thing. That I'm Christian and all that, but we don't even have to go there. My big thing is the biological facts. So basically, biologically, when you have um, when you have a man and a woman, two of the same sex, and when the child asks where do babies come from, you have to now say adoption agencies. That's where baby comes from. So people who really can have natural biological sex, then they 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 through whatever reason. Now, the ideal of the homosexual is to blame the parents, saying like, "Oh, they're unfit" and all of that. So they're unfit to have their kids, and so they blackball and they do this vile kind of thing of slander. Let me say, slander is vile, but let me not call it vile. Okay, so they slander these people. Now, here's my stand: you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to, do what's right all the time. But to change the laws of what's right and what's wrong and to teach it and indoctrinate it into children is a real issue. So, at the same time, another issue, we have Elton John. Elton John. I love Elton John's music. Loved him as a performer, entertainer, all my life. Love Elton John. I sing his songs, all of that. I could probably sing them all. He's an entertainer. So, but we use entertainers and stuff like that to push agenda. And so basically, Elton John has a male homosexual partner, another man that he has anal and oral sex with. Okay, and basically they have been allowed to adopt a child, which I feel is biologically. I feel it's a lie. I feel it's a lie because if you're homosexual and homosexual never recreates and never produces children, then you have to lie your way around that. And so you have to be deceptive. So you have to lie to yourself and then lie to other people in order to say that that is correct, when biologically there's no way that two people can have. But you go against the rules of nature, law, and life, and allow these people who have a lifestyle that does not subscribe to any kind of heterosexuality, and then they do it. So it basically is a lie. There is no such thing as a homosexual organ, or you can have children. So we have to discount life in order to say that that is right. That's my problem. Is saying that right is wrong and wrong is right. So you're saying, you call the people who have to put their children up to adoption, who aren't, can't find a way, whatever their situation is, and then to call them wrong, and then to say people who can't ever have a children, never interested in having a sexual encounter, do all these non-biological kind of things and say that that's right. And so this is the reason why we have grandmothers giving mothers giving birth to their grandmothers, to their grandchildren. And we have the STEM research where we take embryos and then suck babies' embryos, and so that we can look cute or raise our buttocks or, look more youthful. So the path of that is just goes further down. So that's what I have. Now, I said all this to say this. The worst part about it is that people who really do have a problem with homosexuality, people who are generally homosexual because generally they have been traumatized, they have had a problem, there has been some kind of rewiring, something has happened, and you got these popular people like Elton John or Lady Gaga, this chick that walks around like a thing out of a monster. She's supposed to be a monster and walks in an egg, as to be the moral, people that obviously don't know right from left, and being as such, instead of helping them with being traumatized or not having a true value for having been traumatized. Case in point, Elton John wanted to kill himself at one time. He tried to commit suicide more than once. Not judging him. I'm thankful, and the world is thankful that he is okay. But obviously, the man has got problems. And to be on a cover of a magazine with another man talking about you daddy and daddy and this is your child, it's obviously some kind of mental trauma. Now, it takes one to know one. I've had plenty of mental trauma my whole life. So, I can say it, So, it's sad that our president would, step across the lines and then, and then, the Bible is very clear on that kind of thing. So, now here's the thing, you know, I don't, I do, I don't, I've always said, I believe there will be plenty of homosexuals who have been saved and go to heaven. I honestly believe that, and so it's not the act of homosexuality. It's that pride, that unrepentant. Because there's a lot of people that knows wrong is wrong and right is right. And so you're not going to step up to God and tell him what's wrong and him what's right. And that's basically what they're doing. And like I say, I don't even have to go there. Biologically, if you're homosexual, you do not subscribe to heterosexuality when it's convenient. So they're liars. They subscribe to heterosexuality, which is what birthing and childbirth is about, when it's convenient. When it's convenient. I'm not talking about people who have a dysfunctional birth defect where they can't or have something go wrong with their organs, and they'll quickly use that to their advantage. Oh yeah, well, sterile people are still heterosexual. They're capable of it. There's a dysfunction, so to use their dysfunctionality to justify your falsehood is just whew, But this 6 level, So it's sad. It's sad to see that because it's so farce and it's so meaningless. If homosexual people were really happy, I just watched Chelsea lately, and she basically said, just let homosexuals do what they want. They are, because your kids is next. And believe me, I got young girlfriends and situations like that. There's lots of men. I was watching the other day with men going over 13-year-old girls' houses to have sex and stuff like that. What do they call that? The show when they bust them in. Not Dateline. Let me see. What is it? Catch a Predator. So these are men, I see a young girl walking down the street in some shorts. I'm like, whoa. I look at that. Yeah, it look good. But there's a difference. You're supposed to at some point try to maintain and draw a line. Every man has to do that. You can't just do what you want. And so the fight against that is a fight that everybody, I don't care who you are, Christian or anybody else, you have to deal with that. So the way to deal with it is at least know when you're doing wrong and at least saying, okay, I'm doing this, but I know it's not right. At least that. But when you take that out and say, yeah, I'll do what I want and, God is wrong, the Bible says, God is correct and let every man be a liar. Let God be true and every man a liar. You cannot biologically or any kind of way justify homosexuality. And for Lady Gaga to run around, and these people that really don't have their thing together, and like I say, who's committing suicide, been traumatized. Also, I want to say there was this girl, the most honest interview I've ever seen by this porn star, Pinky. She said the same thing, and I'm going to tell you the truth because she's right. She said that, most of these homosexual, she's a porn star, she has homosexual women, dildos, the whole nine, and all the plastic stuff, and toys, and all of that stuff, right? So have all of that, right? And she says, what she has found is that the women when these homosexual relationships are more abusive than men. And I'm gonna tell you, you know, let two men get involved into some homosexual violence, you will see violence and abuse like you have never seen. Now, I understand there's some crazy folks out there, but those relationships is based on one being very overtly dominant over the other one, and so you know, you got women walking around and thinking because that they dress like a man and act like a man and trying to overtly do it in order to impress these women and control the women that they're involved with. It's very, very, very bad situation, and to pretend like these are just good people, just that situation uh, draws a certain amount of negativity. You know, I remember, you know, there's plenty of violent situations, but that's just as violent. Another thing somebody brought up to me and is the amount of different types of diseases that women get from uh, vaginal sex. There's actually more diseases between women and women than there is man and women. So God bless you all. Love you all anyway. Again, my point is just if you were honest about it, if you at least just had that, if you had just at least said, okay, we got to put on the brakes here, or you know what, right is wrong. Just if we just not lost sight of that, but and to lie to a child, I mean, there should be a cutoff limit. There should be a limit that when you go into these schools and start to tell children that little children, babies, that this is you know, I can understand their agenda and stuff like that, and anybody wants to, but it also goes to show how much this is not, uh, you know, protecting the wrong cause. African American, for somebody to protect somebody for just obviously being discriminated and never having any economic access, because of the color of their skin, which still exists today. But when you have folks that, they have everything in the world except for, to walk around being homosexual as like they want. So there's nothing denied from them because there's nothing that equates them into a group. You can't tell a homosexual from anybody else until where they want to put their penis. It's there's no difference in every classification of any kind of race. There's a difference. You will know. And the whole thing about it was so hypocritical about it is that you got men that decide that okay, they failed in marriage, they had heartbroken, and so because of their own insecurity, their own pain, and which I agree that it can be horrible. Some of these women will do you, and then or they just got bored with it. When I was working in corporate America, I knew lots of men. That was the most homosexual experience of my life. You be buddy with one minute and then they're homosexual. I'm naive about stuff. It always catch me off guard. It used to, Um, so this is what I'm saying. It's like you got all these people that decide that they want to, and then you got people like Lady Gaga. I was born this way. It's a damn lie. I mean, and you talk to those people, and they will tell you, I got into it. I just did so much with women that I got bored. I was traumatized. Women get raped, and they cannot have sex. They don't have the therapy. They cannot have sex with a man again, and so they seek satisfaction somewhere else or another woman that is looking out for women who has been through that kind of situation. And so they've been traumatized. So the saddest part about it is that they don't get help. But anyway, but Obama does this, it's just, that I can't respect. I can't respect because, there's no part. I understand he has to run a country, but these people have just literally bought their way. So there's no discrimination. You can just buy laws that you want. There's no discrimination. You know, they've not. Them folks is richer than rich. Discrimination. Comes when you now again, we confuse the issue. Nobody should be beaten up or stoned or anything like that from what they do. That's not our job to do that. You know, uh, but it's just sad. It's sad that you know that America has lost sight of its traditional values, of family values, of things that build society, that build and maintain society. It's going to have plenty of residual effects. It's sad.